What's going on, guys? SickBubbleGum here. I've had a few of you in chat ask about bartering and where to begin, so I thought I'd make this quick guide to help you out. Let's get started. When making a barter class, there's three main classes you should consider: Lan, Shy, and Zerker. Lan is great due to the mobility and the gliding features, however Shy and Zerker are also great due to the extra weight capacity. After choosing the class you want to use as your barterer, it is important to consider the level. You have to either choose to go either below 49 or above 49. If you decide to keep your character below 49, that is ideal, meaning you can AFK barter and not have to worry about getting sunk or griefed by other players. However, you have to keep in mind that you cannot access the cannons in order to kill these sea monsters for your dailies. You also cannot access the Oquilla's Eye questline in order to get your sailing to skilled 1 to use your breezy sails. If you decide to take your character beyond 49, that is fine. It means you can access your cannons as well as do some sea monster hunting. However, you have to keep in mind you are PvP enabled, which means players can sink you and grief you while out at sea. I recommend you keep two characters, one below 49 strictly for bartering and one above, which you'll keep at Oquilla's Eye. That way you can easily access your dailies and get them done without having to worry about getting sunk while you barter. Next up, we're going to need a boat for your bartering. This can be found on the central marketplace. I personally recommend the Afaria sailboat over the frigate. The reason for this is because you get more inventory space as well as weight capacity, making it the ideal candidate for your bartering. After purchasing your license off the marketplace, make sure you have it in your inventory and go find a wharf manager. You can then register your ship just like you can a normal mount. After registering your ship at the wharf manager, press O on the keyboard, go to suggested tab, making sure your quest type all is turned on. Scroll down until you see the Great Expedition Oquilla's Eye. Complete all 53 quests in order to get your sailing to skilled 1. This allows us to use our breezy sails, allowing for easier and faster transport of the ship. If you are unable to find the Great Expedition Oquilla's Eye, it means you are below level 50 or you have not reached this questline yet. I have included in the description the full quest chain in order to get to this one. After completing the questline, your sailing should be skilled 1 or higher. After that, we're going to be setting up base for our bartering. I recommend Oquilla Island, which is just northeast of Velia. This makes a great spot to store all your barter goods, as it is in the middle of everything. Once you've chosen Oquilla Island as your main base of operations, it's important to get as much storage as possible. The reason for this is because all your tiered goods do stack apart from your tier 5s, which will take up a lot of room. It also gives you more room so you can put barter goods, which you can use to later exchange for your tier 1 goods. If you cannot afford to max out your storage at Oquilla Island, that is fine. You can do an alternative by using Velia as your second storage hub. This can be used to store all your main ingredients for your tier 1 trades. Otherwise, you can keep them in the marketplace and use the storage maids to withdraw them when needed. In order to start bartering, you're going to hit escape on your keyboard. You're going to navigate down to life and then barter. This window will pop up. This is your main window, which is going to show you all the different barters you can do. I highly recommend that you put this on a key. Mine is bound to F2. On the right hand side here, you have the parlay, which is very important. This determines how many trades you can do within the cycle and can be reset after you've done a barter refresh. At the start, this won't really apply to us as we won't be trading as much as someone that has, say, a Karak, so we won't actually be able to reach the bottom of this before a reset. Later on, though, this is important to keep an eye on, so that way you can plan your trades accordingly and get everything you need. Now, when starting out, you're going to have to keep an eye on the total number of exchanges left. This is going to determine how many times we can trade this particular barter in order to get the item on the right-hand side. Now, starting out on the top right here, we have all grades. You want to click that and go to white goods. This is going to show us as to what trades we actually need to do in order to obtain our first tier 1 barter items. In order to obtain these tier 1 items, we're going to have to look at the materials on the left-hand side. Keep in mind, these do range from 1,000 silver all the way up to 100,000 on the marketplace. So keep an eye out as to how much you're actually spending in order to complete all 6 exchanges. In this case, the wolf hide is about 24 million to get the 6 tier 1 items, and the vinegar is around that 14 million to get the 6. So vinegar would be the cheaper option. Now, if you do have extra silver spare, I recommend getting all of the tier 1 items first to build your initial foundation, so that way we can exchange those for tier 2s later on. After grabbing your first lot of tier 1 items, all 6 of those should actually make your ship pretty full. You're going to have to head back to either Portaferia, Velia, or Oquilla, whichever is closest, and store those materials, and repeat this process until you got all tier 1 items finished. After that, you can then change whichever port you've stored those items at and send them to your main storage. In this case, for me, it's going to be Oquilla Island. Once you have picked up all your tier 1 items, it is now time to upgrade those into tier 2s. Selecting the list at the top right, we're going to go to green grade. Now keep an eye out on these numbers here. We want to make sure it's a 1-for-2 trade or a 1-for-3 trade. We never want a 1-for-1 trade. This also applies when getting a tier 3 or a tier 4 item. In this case, a 1-for-1 trade is not going to be ideal, especially when the conch shell here can actually be used to upgrade your ship. After getting all your tier 2 items, it's now time to upgrade those to tier 3 and 4 using the same methods, looking for a 1-to-2 and 1-for-3 trade. Once you have all your tier 4s completed, we're going to be trading those for tier 5. Keep in mind you'll never get better than a 1-for-1 trade, so go ahead and trade all your tier 4s for the tier 5s and keep those in your storage. Do not trade the tier 5s for coins unless the coin value is over 500, otherwise you lose on profit. Over time, the more barter trips you do, the more exchanges you complete, therefore your list will begin to grow and you'll be able to choose from more things. This is where your parlay really comes into handy, and you have to start paying attention as to how much parlay is required. As you go up in tiers, there's going to be more parlay required in order to complete this transaction, and you'll need to plan accordingly. Once you have finished bartering all your items, you can now use the barter refresh at the top right here. Keep in mind the total amount. Your first refresh is going to be a 4-hour cooldown. This can be used to either get more trade goods or raw ship material, which can be used for upgrading. If you have already used this, then you can go the instant refresh, which is going to use more points and immediately refresh it for you. In order to make your boat a little bit more efficient, we're going to need some sailors. So if you go to a wharf manager, you should be able to purchase a sailor contract certificate. These sailors can be found in Velia, Portaferia, and Ilia Island. In order to find it in Ilia Island, it's going to be near the General Goods Keeper, just down the road and along to the Stable Keeper. Portaferia, it's going to be near the Beach Whale, down the road from the Storage Keeper, and Velia, it's right next to the Innkeeper here, just inside the kitchen. The reason why we're after the Innocent Sailor is because it has the best balance of low weight as well as good acceleration and speed. This makes it ideal for bartering. Keep in mind, the larger your ship, the more sailors you can have. Over time, you will begin to stockpile your items. Now it's important to consider how much of those items you need to keep. Starting with your tier 1s, you want to try and keep as many as possible and later exchange those to tier 2 as previously described. Otherwise, you can go to a trade goods vendor and exchange those goods for some upgrade material for your ship. As for your tier 2s, you want to go ahead and upgrade those to tier 3. Keep in mind these 6 shown on screen right now, you always want to have at least one of, because these are used for the material to upgrade to a Caravel. For both tiers 3 and 4, try and keep a minimum of 3 at all times. Now keep in mind, once you do get your Caravel, some of these materials can be used as upgrade materials for your Carac, so try and keep a minimum of 6. For tier 5, store 4 of them at your storage at all times. Keep in mind they don't stack like tiers 1, 2, 3, and 4, so they do take up a lot of storage space. Any excess sell to the vendor for about 5 to 10 mil, depending on what it is. All the rest will be used for coin trade-ups, given that they're the correct amount that we discussed earlier, and you should be good to go. Now, in order to get your Caravel a little bit quicker, we are going to be doing some dailies. So from Ilia Island, we're going to go north-northeast between these two lands, and we're going to reach this area here known as Crow's Nest. There is a daily you can do for 7 days, which will give you the reward shown on screen. This equates to 50% of the materials required in order to get your Caravel. While doing those dailies, I recommend you do these dailies to the northwest. So from Ilia Island, we're going to be going up and to Aquila's Eye right here. Now your first set of dailies are just going to be here. There's going to be 2. They require you to hand in a piece of coral as well as some iridescent coral. This can be found on the outer rim here. You'll find some coral that you can loot. Once you gather that, just hand it to him and you'll be done. Run up and over to this direction. This next bit does require a group. In order to join a group, hit escape on the keyboard, go to community, and then select chat group. Make sure you select Dancing Marlin Tavern. Once you've done so, hit enter. From there, you're going to ask in the group chat if anyone is doing OE dailies. You will definitely find someone. People do it multiple times throughout the day. It takes 10 minutes for the first part and 40 minutes for the second. I highly recommend you do both parts every single day, as you do require these materials later on to get your Carac. Once you have found your daily group, come over to this guy here and accept the first 3 quests. These are going to be part 1 of your dailies. You guys are going to head out and complete those, come back and hand them back into him. Once you have done so, come over to the wharf manager, talk to him, and grab the first 3 quests he offers. These are going to be part 2 of your dailies. Once those are completed, come back, hand them in, and you're officially done your dailies for today, and you can go back to bartering. Now it's time to look at what you actually need in order to upgrade to the Etheria Caravel. Up first, you need 100 graphite ingot for upgrade, timber for upgrade, and adhesive for upgrade. If you have done the 7 dailies up at Crow's Nest, then you're already halfway there. You only need another 50 of each. In order to get the other 50, you will need 5,000 zinc ingots, old tree bark, red tree lump, white cedar sap, acacia sap, and elder tree sap, as well as 150 sea monster ooze. After you have obtained all that, you will need to purchase the ship upgrade permit for the Etheria Caravel, which is located at Portaferia for 400 million. Next up, you will need 100 island tree coated plywoods and rock salt ingots. In order to obtain these, you will need to trade in your T2 goods through the bartering system as previously discussed. I have it up here on the screen for you just to make things a little easier. Next is the 4 deep sea memory filled glue and 6 seaweed stalks. Both of these can be obtained from doing the dailies previously shown, so you should have no issues getting these. Lastly, you're going to need your Etheria Old Prow, Plating, Cannon, and Windsail to +10. These can be purchased at Port Etheria, and you can use your Verdant Blackstones to upgrade. Each piece requires 55 Verdant Blackstones in order to reach +10. Don't worry though, it is a 100% chance. If you run out of Verdant Blackstones, it's okay, you can turn in your T1 items at either Ravinia, or Ravinia, at either Velia, Port Etheria, or Ilia Island to get more of them. You must ensure each of these items are max durability when upgrading the ship, otherwise it will not allow you to upgrade. Once you have gathered all necessary material in order to upgrade your own Etheria sailboat to a Caravel, go ahead and talk to a wharf manager, select wharf, make sure you check in the ship in order to get the upgrade ship option. Click that. Once you have done so, right hand side, you're going to be clicking this and it should display everything you need in order to upgrade this ship. Everything should be in your inventory beforehand, and once it is, go ahead and click upgrade. Anyways, guys, I hope this helped. Best of luck with your bartering adventures. Don't forget to do your OE dailies to obtain your Karak faster. Feel free to leave any questions regarding this guide below. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe.